step into the world of Dungeons, Dragons, and dad jokes. Hi, I'm Megan, and this is The Adventure Zone. The Adventure Zone, written by the McElroys and illustrated by Carrie Pitch, is an ongoing graphic novel series based on the popular podcast where three brothers play D&D with their dad, who is new to the game and consistently has trouble finding his D20. Each book spans between 240 and 272 pages, following the quest arcs that the characters embark upon during the course of the campaign. The story follows Taco, the elf wizard, Merle, the dwarf cleric, and Magnus, the human warrior, for an adventure they are poorly equipped to handle at best. They are guided by their snarky DM that will have you laughing most of the time, but also leave you contemplating serious questions about the line between good and evil and the consequences of the choices that you make. The Adventure Zone is the equivalent of late-night game sessions with your friends, filled with the off-kilter humor that comes with playing a game where some rules are meant to be broken. The art is cute and dynamic, while the story and characters have you quietly smiling at the ridiculousness of a game that allows you to drag race while using magic. There's also a seriousness to the Adventure Zone that causes the reader to pause. Ultimately, it's a story about gathering magical artifacts in order to save the world from some form of destruction. Along the way, the characters are put into difficult circumstances that leave them between a rock and a hard place. And while the decisions that they need to make do not always end happily, they force the characters to grow and change throughout the course of the story. Those who have listened to the Adventure Zone podcast will see that the comic follows it closely to the point where many of the scenes are direct quotes. Some of the criticisms of the comic series have been that it's redundant, but I would argue that it makes it more accessible to people who both enjoyed the podcast and wanted a more streamlined story. It also makes it accessible for people who have never heard it and prefer a more physical medium through which to enjoy the work. It also has some mature language and jokes that have a younger audience maybe shying away from it. While the jokes in the Adventure Zone make the campaign of Dungeons & Dragons accessible to most people, it's the more somber moments that keep people reading the comic, wanting to see how the story will end for the heroes and what the clues dropped along the way might spell out for the end of the world. At the end of the day, it's a beautiful mix of fluff and color and some savory bits that keep you coming back for more.